Hello everyone, Cutting Tool Designer here. Welcome to part 23 of restoration of the South Bend Heavy 10 lathe. This episode will continue on with the assembly of the apron. Probably going to be another episode after this one till we get it finally completed, and we'll just keep pegging away at it. I think the next thing we'll do is the headstock, so stay tuned for that. So hang on a second, we'll be right back with the continued assembly of the apron. The next, actually we should have put a wick in there. But I think we can still get it in there. It goes, make sure I got the right size wick. Yeah. Okay, so you take one of the longer wicks. It has to go through here and then through here and back around. Because what it's going to do is it's actually going to sit in the sump. Okay. So that it can oil everything above it here for the feed screw. Okay, so wick goes in. And it says to go ahead and complete the assembly. I have to do some other things too, so I'm gonna skip that part for now, I think. But now we also have to put wicks in. Alright, now I got this running. That should fit in this one. Right. Pretty sure. It's a nice little fit. Okay. We'll cut some of this so that this video isn't so long. And now we got to tie off some wicks. This looks like fun. So basically we've got to get, there's a little shaft down here. Somewhere I have a pick. Not sure where I put it. Maybe I can use a Allen wrench here. So we got to get down in here and get this wick around this little shaft down here inside the sump area. So try to get a hold of it to pull it up. And I should have had a pair of needle nose pliers. Ooh, that's fun. Okay, so there we go around there. And then we have to do a slip knot. See if I can remember how to do a slip knot. So, around. And again. Come on. Pull it through. Alright, keep it as short as possible, but get it snug, but not overly snug, because you will rip this pulling it down in. Just has to hold it. So we will gently work it down in until it reaches the bottom. Alright, and that'll wick oil up from the well. And this one has to go to the front shaft here. So it has to come up and come out here. And then there's a slot towards the top. So we'll actually have to work with this when we get the shaft in to get that in the right orientation. And then we need about 8 inches that we need to do the same thing for here and tie off up in this one. So I need to get this wick around this shaft right here. Try and get another slip knot tied here. Try and get a hold of it. Okay. So again, I'll tie a slip knot. And if I did it right, that would be good. So we gotta wrap it around. And then back up through. Like so. Tighten that down. Again, not too tight. Work our way down. There we go. Until it's on the bottom of the shaft. And then that one. Let's see. Alright, so it has to go through here. And then it has to come back down through this shaft into this slot, like so, and we'll get some oil in there when we go to assemble this. So now we have the gear assembly, the top one. Okay, so this shaft goes in next. Taper pin. This is the one that I had to drill out part way, but it still should be enough to secure it. So it goes through there, and we got to feed it through here. I know that wick in the back we have to be careful with. And that comes to there, that comes to there. Pin goes in. There's a gap, so we don't have to worry too much about the wick being in the way. So we're going to put some oil on this wick and on this wick, and we're going to work this wick up into the slot like so. Okay, so that one's in there. Put a little bit of oil on the shaft and start it in this side. Being careful not to rip the wick as we go through. Definitely adds tightness to it. Okay, so now I've got to actually bring this back so I can get this gear slid in. And it has to go in this direction. Not sure if I got it on there right. We gotta get it on this shaft. There we go. Pretty tough, touchy. This wick, gonna have to reach down in here and kind of pull it up so it's back here away from this shaft as it goes through. We got to get it lined up with the slot right there. Okay. And that gear is going to be back up in this direction quite a bit this way. But before we do that, let's go ahead and trim off. I need to get my knife. Trim off this excess wick right here. Okay. Then we can get the shaft in the rest of the way. Okay. That wick in the back, yeah, it needs to, that was too much extension. So we need to pull that, there we go, a little bit more. See if we can get this in the slot properly. And then get the shaft to go through again. There we go. Alright, well, I'm going to go ahead and put some more oil on this wick here. Put some on here. And I'm going to go ahead and put some more in here. Try and wick that in there a little bit. Bring that gear up. Push the shaft back the rest of the way. And then try and find the right size holes. Again, we have to look for the large side, which I know is from whenever I drilled it out, it's a little boogered. Get that pin line up in the hole. Come forward some. Come on. There we go. Let's see. We can get that driven home or not. Should be the right side. Maybe it's not. Yep, that's why you got to be real careful which side you line these holes up. There we go. That's better. And now drive this pin home. To lock that in place. Here we are. Locked in place. That wick has to ride up behind there to the top of the shaft without getting caught in the gears. So now we can slice this off. Trim that up better some other time. Alright. That wasn't too bad overall. The wicks are usually a real fun thing to deal with, so so far so good. So those two wicks then are in there for that. And then what they want us to do is put the worm screw back on. Now I had marked these with the scribe line to determine which direction they went. Now there's a pin here for locking these in place. Yeah. We're not going to do that just yet because these still, I haven't gotten around to measuring the amount of play. Now there should be two more pins here. Where'd they go? Okay, well that's not good. Get some other pins here. Let's see if these are the ones that fit it. Yep. Okay. So there's a pin that goes in here. That has to sit in a groove right up in here. And we need this to go through there. So we'll put this in. This is a non-moving part, but let's get this pin in so it locates it right there. Okay, because then this wick has to go down inside there and off to the side of that slot. So let's get this one undone. Let's get it in. Has to go through there. And I have a feeling, now I know why. We weren't supposed to put the half nut in yet. Because I'm not going to be able to get the shaft in. Let's get this rotated to the right position where the pin's supposed to be. Approximately there. It shouldn't be that tight of a fit. It should slide in fairly easy. There we go. That pin in there. Get it rotated to the right position. Okay, too far. Just have it still out of alignment. Trying to see, looks like it's pretty close. Those should slide right in the proper position. Not sure why this is so tight. Wasn't before. Again, it's best to go through and make sure everything fits pretty easily. Okay, so that should be right in there for the alignment. Yep. Push that home. Okay. That pin in the rest of the way. Alright, now what we got to do, that pin. That's one of the locking ones. We're going to have to take this back off. Okay. So, let's see, we're still recording. Yep. Let's give it a break for a second, and then I'll come back and we'll take this off and start over again. Alright, so got that done. Now it's time to put this back in. And again, the wicks have to go up through here in these slots and down along the sides after this gets in. I'm just double checking to make sure which orientation this was in. So we're going to put a little bit of oil on the wicks. And I'm not going to trim these off yet because truthfully I have to tear this apart later. So for right now we're just doing this as an assembly so everybody can see how this goes back together. So we'll put some oil on there, and then we've got to get this slid in through here over that wick without tearing it all up. And alright, well, I did that wrong again. This has to go in first before this side goes in. So we'll have to push this back out again. Come on. And why that's in there so tight, it wasn't that tight before. Things not to do. Learn from our mistakes. Okay. So we got to feed this in to this one. And feed the worm through onto the shaft. Alright, now, tricky part. This has to go back in again. Make sure that we have the wick in the proper orientation for this slot. Because it's got to get over that shaft. Make sure I have it pulled in far enough. Try and line up the pin slot. Where is that slot? Okay, the wick sticking out. Okay, now that pin has to line up. Come on. Why can't I see that? Let's clear up here. So it didn't clear up there. It's weird. Okay. Push that in. Get this pin in. Push this back. Come on. There we go. Well, that was fun. Alright, and then these screw on the ends. And I'm only going to put them on to a certain point. You kind of have to pull this back a little bit. Alright, and then that wick will compress down into that slot. And this one goes on this end. Like so. Of course, this one was a little tight for some reason. Again, you gotta watch where this lines up, so I think this goes this way. So that lines up with the hole there properly. And then you have to clean these threads out better. Seems to be a binding spot. Ouch. Alright. Well, we're not going to go any further with that because I still have to measure all the play that I have in here, because I'm going to have to do some shimming on here, clean up these surfaces for taking the lash out, because there's a bit of lash in there. Okay, but we'll tighten the one up a little bit anyways. That turns that. Okay, and then what we'll do of course, the key is supposed to go back in there, which is this key right here. It goes in here and sits in those slots, and that's what the lead screw drives this gear with. That one I still have to make yet, so we're not putting it in. Okay, everyone, thanks for watching, and if you like what you see, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Greatly appreciate that. We'll continue on. The next episode, like I said before, will probably be finishing up the assembly of the apron. Get that done, and then we'll get onto the headstock next. We'll just keep pegging away at it. We're getting pretty far along. Some other stuff that we need to do, but I think the rest of it should go hopefully very quickly. So I appreciate you watching, and stay tuned for the next episode. Until then, everyone out there, take care.